everybody, it's Heather Hitchman again with another tutorial slash walkthrough with you guys. Today I'm going to show you how I made this drawing. I hope that the camera is catching this. So basically this is a drawing I did earlier today that I did a little time-lapse video for you guys, and it's going to be a walkthrough from a loose digital sketch to a finished pencil illustration. So what this character is, she is a unicorn faun from my world that I'm building called Terratoff. So it's a different kind of species in my world, and this is actually a gift for one of my patrons, so hopefully she likes it. First thing I did was I made this digital sketch that I'm going to use to trace over to get the basic proportions and pose and figure right. And I do digital drawings just because it helps speed up the process for me, because I've learned how to draw digitally and it just makes it easier for me. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over my materials. That's a Moleskine Sketchbook, and that is a really neat little thing I just got off of Amazon. It's a really thin light board, and it's great because I can use it with all kinds of sketchbooks. That's some artist tape. We're going to need that. That is a pencil sharpener that I'm going to use for my pencils. I like it because it's got a hole for bigger pencils and for smaller ones. And as you can see, I use big fat pencils sometimes, and I use smaller ones like that one. Next we have some erasers. I'm going to go over these erasers and why I have 3 different ones and what they're all for. So this is the Tombow mini eraser. These are really great because I do a lot of small drawings, and they're really useful for getting into those really tight details and for doing really tight cleanup and getting those little tiny mistakes. This is also a Tombow. That is a sandpaper. Or no, it's just a sand eraser, not sandpaper eraser, but it's a sand eraser, and it's really great for getting out really dark marks and those marks on your paper that you can't seem to erase. But be careful, because these things are really harsh on your paper and it can damage your paper if you're not careful. So try to use it gently at first and work your way up to really grinding it into the paper. And this is my kneaded eraser. Oh, isn't it cute? It's in a little heart. Now I'm squishing it and tearing it apart. Oh, my heart is broken. But kneaded erasers are great because they're really easily manipulated, and you can use them for getting into tight spots, or what I tend to use them for is getting those smudges off of the page for when I'm moving my hand around and spreading graphite and chalk or whatever all over the place. That's me showing you an example to make sure you hold down your paper when you use it, because it does have a tendency to bend the paper if you're not careful. So those are my 3 erasers. This is the pencil I'm going to be using to start off. It's a Kohl Erase brown pencil. They come with erasers, but I use it all, so I have that little additional one put on. And these are some mechanical colored pencils that I have. I use these all the time. They also have colored lead in them. They're really great for adding just a touch of color to your drawings if you don't want to go the full colored pencil route. And that is a gold colored pencil I have that I was going to use, but I ended up using this paint instead. So I got some Kremer pigment paint there that's gold, and that is a Winsor Newton 0 size watercolor brush. So I ended up using, and some water. I ended up using those to embellish this drawing a little bit, to make it extra special instead of the colored pencil. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tear up my paper with my digital sketch on it. I'm doing this because the paper that my printer prints out these sketches on is actually way bigger than the Moleskine paper. So I have to tear it up, because if I just put it underneath the page that I'm sketching on as it is, then it would be all the way at the edge of the paper, and we want it kind of centered. So I tear it apart so that I can do that. I put it on top of the light board and underneath the page I'm going to sketch on. So see, now that I've torn it, I can center it into the paper instead of it being all the way at the edge. I'm checking to see if it's centered. And I'm going to fiddle around with it a little bit. Once I get it somewhere I like it, I'm going to get that beautiful artist tape. There it is. Mine's really special because it's covered in cat hair. And now I'm going to tape it in place directly onto the light board. I do this so that as I'm drawing, my hand doesn't accidentally move it away, because it would be tragic if I started drawing it in one spot and then the sketch gets moved and then I have to try to line it back up again. It can be really frustrating. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and tape down my Moleskine page so that not only will my sketch stay in place, but so will the page that I'm drawing on. Great thing about artist tape is that when done right, you can remove it from the paper without causing any damage. But still, I advise that you remove the tape slowly and carefully, because it can rip, especially really delicate paper like the one in that Moleskine I have there. So I'm sharpening my pencil, and we're off to the sped up portion of the video. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm just tracing my drawing, and as I'm tracing it, I'm making slight adjustments as I go, because as you can maybe tell from here, it's the anatomy's slightly off and her face isn't completely symmetrical, and I kind of roughed in things like the flowers and the horn and stuff like that. I really try to keep focus on the face, especially when I'm doing these kind of sketch commissions and they're not completely tight drawings. So then even though the drawing might be a little bit more loose, your focus is drawn to the center of the image and the most important part, where in this case is the face. And most of my drawings are portraits or have characters in them, so that's usually where I want you to look. And I'll go through turning the light on and off and kind of fixing things and adjusting things as I go. That portion of the hair I didn't really get very, what's the word I want to use? It wasn't very appealing the way I had drawn it with the shape of the skull, so I was trying to fix that with my pencil there. I'm getting in her chest and her arms, just kind of want to hint at that. Like I said, I want the focus here to be those eyes and that face. Alright, so now I'm removing, now that I've gotten the initial sketch done, I'm removing it from the light board. And I like to tape it to the side like that, so that as I'm cleaning up my drawings, I can see the original reference and it keeps me inspired, and so I don't lose the charm of the original digital sketch. So now we're going in for the cleanup, and lately, especially with these Faun characters, I've been doing these really short, kind of jerky strokes with my pencil so I can get kind of like the illusion of fur. There I am fixing that hair some more. It was really bugging me. One thing to keep in mind when you're doing these characters is to keep in mind the shape of the skull and it's round, and like how things would turn around a round object. And I'm just kind of building detail. I start with the face because that's the most important part, and if you get that wrong, you might as well just start over. So I want to get that out of the way, especially because my stamina is at my highest at that point. I've made the mistake before, and I won't do it again, saving the face for last when my stamina is really low and I'm just emotionally done with the drawing and I don't want to do it anymore. That's not the part you want to be working on, the most important part of your drawing. That's when you kind of want to be doing the less detail work. So here I am working in that mouth and the chin. And you might see that I'm smudging things as I go a little bit. That's a color erase. The color erase pencils are really great for a lot of reasons, because you can smudge them and do things like that. And there I'm working out more details onto the chest now that I've gotten the face sort of where I like it. And I keep doing those short little wispy motions with my hand to kind of get a fur texture all over this character, because she's covered in fur from head to toe. So we want to make sure that she doesn't look too slick and clean, which is hard for me because I really like to do really clean line work. So I've been trying to break that habit when it comes to these furrier creatures. Now I'm going up to the hair and those flowers she's got up there, working in some more shadows and kind of smudging as I go. I really wanted to channel nature with this piece, so that's why I added some different flowers and some petals so that it would incorporate the nature theme that is a overlapping theme in my story and my world building project. So since I'm just going to be noodling around here for a little bit, if you have found this video through Patreon, thank you for being my patron. Happy to have you here. If you happen to find this video some other way, I just want to let you know that this is my passion project. I'm a storyteller and a world builder, and these characters that I do in my videos are often from that project. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, or to participate in the world building and get to do all kinds of fun things like download coloring pages and help name characters and do fun world building activities, check out my Patreon. My patrons really are a great resource for me to help me keep building this project and make it my full-time job, which is my ultimate goal. So right now I'm taking different colored pencils and I'm adding some detail with them just to give the character some different tones instead of just brown. I like to use pink in the ears and around the eyelids and the nose, places where blood would rush to because of the different senses that are being activated in those areas: sight, smell, and sight, smell, and sound. Adding in some details with those leaves and petals. So I'm jumping between my Colorase pencil to add some more contours where the pencil has kind of faded, the colored pencils to add just a touch of color, and a couple Tombow colored pencils to add different colors as well. This is the exciting part. This is some little hand embellishing with some gold paint, just to make it a little bit extra special and give her some sort of sense of magic and mystique about her. So I'm using my Winsor Newton 0 paintbrush with that Kremer gold pigment. There's all different shades of gold you can get through Kremer, and I highly recommend them. They're really great. There I am actually signing it in the gold. And I'm writing Staedtler on it because it was for the month of Staedtler that I did this. And that's the end! Isn't she beautiful? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. You can kind of see the shimmer there a little bit. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter and all that great stuff. You can find links on my website at heatherhitchman.com. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.